Adam Schefter literally just came in.
Whoa, okay. Do we have one of those sounders?
I don't think so.
We don't have a breaking news. We don't have a breaking news sounder? Breaking news.
This just changed our show.
Yeah, it did. Our entire show just blew up, which is always fun. By the way, let's tell Jay Morris to get a breaking news sounder if we don't have one. Let's do that in the imaging. Okay. Breaking news. Both Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport have this news. Raiders fans, how about this? We just talked about what would the Raiders do to find that number one wide receiver. We have your answer. The Raiders are in the final stages of trading for Packers star Davante Adams, who receives a new contract that makes him the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. The Raiders send back a first-round pick, potentially more picks, and a player. So again, breaking news here on Sports 1140 KHTK. The Vegas Raiders are trading for Davante Adams. Man, oh man. Woof. So now look, this is not a shock, right? This is not shocking because we knew the Raiders needed a number one wide receiver. We know about Derek Carr and Adams' relationship back at Fresno and the fact that, they're BFFs. You remember last offseason when Carr and Adams were publicly flirting with each other. So this is not a shock. But what is interesting on so many levels, there's a lot of things to kind of look at here. Number one, and we might want to see if Vic Tafer's actually going to join us now because he was supposed to join us in 15 minutes. He might be a little busy now. Number one, the Raiders know that this is an arms race. The Raiders are looking around. They're saying, all right, wait a minute. The Broncos add Russell Wilson. You've got, other stuff. The Chargers adding to their defense in the way that they've added to their defense. So it's rather obvious that you've got some heavy hitters doing business, right? Randy Gregory, Wilson to the Broncos. The Chargers make all sorts of defensive moves. They bring in Khalil Mack. They sign J.C. Jackson. You're looking at this. If this is a mano for a mano thing, and I do think it's mano a mano, if you're the Raiders, you've got to keep up. And you see these teams in your division adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. And you have to eventually add. And the Raiders, they're not playing around, folks. They are not playing around whatsoever. The Raiders in the last couple of days, they've come out swinging. They've said, okay, Denver, we see you throwing haymakers. Okay, Chargers, we see you throwing some haymakers. We're going to throw our haymakers. By the way, the Adams contract is monstrous. Monstrous. Ian Rappaport. The new contract for Davante Adams, 5 years, $141 million. That's an average of over $28 million a year for a wide receiver. I love Davante Adams. I hate that contract. Adam Schefter says that the trade is going to be for two, not one, but two prime 2022 picks. So as this news is flying in, if you want to do me a favor, Chris, we'll peek beyond the curtain here. Just whatever new information we have, just throw it into the Slack for me so I can keep track of everything that's happening. What specifically is traded and the contract information for me. That would be great. So the Raiders, they're swinging. They're swinging. In the last 24 to 36 hours, you bring in Chandler Jones. You spend that money on Chandler. You trade Ngakoue to bring in Rock Ya-Sin. You sign Bilal Nichols to help the defensive line, right? Now, you trade 2, reportedly, prime picks. I'm guessing it's definitely the first round pick here in 2022, which is the 22nd pick in the draft. You trade the 22nd pick in the draft this year. I'm guessing the other pick is going to be either a second or third round pick because, if it's 2 prime picks, a third round pick's not a prime pick unless Adam Schefter is working from a different world than I'm working from. So you trade 2 primo picks. Rappaport says it might include a player or 2 for Davante Adams. You have brought in Chandler Jones, Rock Ya-Sin, and Davante Adams in a matter of 24 to 36 hours. This is what happens when you have the arms race. This is what happens when you're battling for your division. You're trying to make some noise. You're trying to win now. You've got a team in your division adding Russell Wilson. You've got teams in your division adding all of this talent. There's absolutely a reek of desperation here. Let's not get it twisted. Again, that is a lot to give up. It's a lot of assets to give up, and that is just a truckload of money. $28 million a year. By the way, what do you think Debo's getting now? Bad news for the Niners. So, this is going all in. The Raiders are making a statement. They're going all in. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? And you could certainly say that Derek Carr is going to stay because Derek Carr and Adams are best friends unless something crazy happens and the Raiders turn around and they trade Carr for Rodgers, but I'm not going down that road. They're going all in. And so I was reading before free agency started, there was this question, will the Raiders act like the Patriots in the offseason? Right? There was this idea of Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels coming from New England. New England, aside from last offseason, doesn't, spend a ton of money. They don't make big splashy moves very often. Well, that question is answered. Are the Raiders going to act and do business like the Patriots do? Unequivocally, that answer is no. Chandler Jones, Rock Ya-Sin, Davante Adams, who knows what else they're going to do. But this is a gigantic trade. And we no longer have the question of how will the Raiders fill that wide receiver 1 slot. So now you've got Adams, you've got Renfro, you've got Darren Waller, you've got Josh Jacobs, McDaniels' offensive mind. There's a lot going on in Vegas. And if you're a Raiders fan, you got to be super excited as far as the now. Again, how this deal plays out in the long term, it's rather obvious to me that the Raiders overpaid. And I love Davante Adams. Adams is the best receiver in the NFL. But $28.25 million a year, and you're giving up multiple picks and maybe a player? All right, we've got a lot more to talk about. Do we know if Vic Tafer's joining us yet? Yes or no on that, Chris? No, we don't know, or no, he's not joining us?
No, he's not joining us.
Okay.
So, tomorrow?
This is what happens when, Davante Adams gets traded to the Raiders 5 minutes before you're set to have the Raiders beat writer from The Athletic. But look, gigantic trade in the NFL. Of course, we'll continue to break this down. We'll have a lot more on the Davante Adams to Raiders trade coming up next.